13.
Right now we have 8 sophomores. Good morning, Elijah.
Yes, good morning. How thoughtful of you.
Good morning,
Good
Madison.
morning. Good morning. No, Brian, we cannot see you. We can see that you're there. No, we're in
We know you're
webinar
gonna pay
format.
attention.
We are in webinar format, so the only people that can be seen are the panelists. So like myself, Miss Pritchard, Miss Novak, Miss Weber, Miss Franz, Miss Horlick, and Miss Bleish.
So this webinar is for our sophomores. So if you are 9, 11, or 12, you should be in your SEL class. Otherwise, all of our sophomores should be here with us this morning. And at that, it is 10:05. We're going to respect all your guys' times and get started.
All right, then that's my cue. So I'm Miss Weber. I'm one of the counselors here. And so we have also other counselors on the panel today, Mr. Lehman, if you could wave, and Ms. Franz. And then let's see, I'm trying to see down the list. Ms. Pritchard is one of our assistant principals. Ms. Bleish, also one of our assistant principals. There she is. Ms. Horlick, you may know, she's one of our deans. Let's see, Ms. Novak is our college and career specialist, runs the career center. Am I missing anybody? I can't see anybody else on my. Okay, so that is our team. Sorry?
It's here, principal. I just popped in.
Oh, sorry, Ms. Tuff, our principal. Thank you for coming. So, okay, 10th graders. We, in case you ever wondered, yes, we read your surveys and we listen. And what we have found is that a lot of people want to know a little bit more about what you should be thinking about now in 10th grade and thinking about your future and what are your options and how do you start thinking about them now while you're, so you can start planning for them. So that's mainly what we're going to be helping you think about today. However, we haven't had a chance to really meet with you before this year. So if you have other concerns, we want you to put those in the chat and we'll do our best to address them, not now, then afterwards. But we are going to kind of focus right now on kind of thinking towards your future and what your options are, so you can be thinking about them. So let's see here. What we were talking about was colleges. Can we go back one slide? Okay, next. Okay, actually, I did need the next slide, sorry. Okay. So what we really wanted to point out here is that when we say college, it's kind of a general term now for what you're going to do after high school, okay? Because so the majority of jobs do require some kind of training or education after high school. And it could be you have so many options, and that's kind of what we're going to overview for you today. And but when we say that, if you think, oh, I wasn't going to go to a 4-year college, we're still talking about you, okay? Because these are some of the other options that would kind of fall under that umbrella. So there are community colleges, which would be like a 2-year, and also certificates for certain trades that might be shorter than that. Technical colleges, which really would help you focus on a particular job only. And they may or may not be with an associate's degree or not, or just a certificate. Also the same vocational or trade school, similar thing there, where it would focus particularly on a career. And then apprenticeships is where you actually would, you have some study, but you do on the job training, you're learning with doing the job with a person who's more experienced. And then there's the traditional 4-year colleges and universities. So these are the options. We're going to tell you a little bit more about them. And the important thing is that that you find the one that's best for you and that you use this high school time to explore those pathways and see what seems to be a good fit for you. So next slide. Okay, so the first one we're going to briefly overview is community colleges. So 34 of those in our state. And there's a few examples of the kinds of things you could learn there and study. However, I'm going to just, do you see this poster? Okay.
Talking to the mic, Miss Weber.
Okay, so that I was holding up that big poster. That is a poster that I have that lists all the community colleges and technical colleges in our state and all the different pathways of what you could study there. And there's even more lines than that huge, all those lines of things you could study, because those are like categories. So even under those categories, there's more. So there's so many besides these three were listed here as an example. And they're more geared towards, you can get a 2-year degree there, kind of a general degree, like to lead you into a 4-year college, or you can just specifically focus on a particular career. And as I showed you in that huge poster I was holding up, talk to one of us, talk to Ms. Novak, and you can see there's so many options there for you if you're focused more on a particular career. So then that's what you might want to go there for.
I just put the link in the chat for everyone too.
Yeah.
That's a searchable site for that poster.
Oh, great.
Like, these are just 3 examples, and they're like, I just want to reiterate, there's so many different things. There's so many different technical degrees. There's so many different certificate programs. College doesn't mean 4-year university. It's
Yes.
all encompassing, and there's so many different pathways. And so that's why it's
Yes.
important for you to look now.
Right, because we do have classes too in high school that might help you figure out what you want to do or take you on that pathway. So if we could go to the next slide. Okay, well, we kind of talked about this already. So associate's degree is basically a 2-year degree, as opposed to like a university would usually be a 4-year degree, and also additional studies like master's degrees. But we kind of talked about this. Oh, I did want to, this little note on the side there that some community colleges and technical colleges now offer bachelor's degrees. Yes, in fact, I'd say most of them in our state do now. And they're more focused, as community colleges traditionally are, on a particular career pathway, as opposed to like a general, like you wouldn't be like a history major at a community college, but they have very specific 4-year degrees to something. Like I'm thinking at Green River, for example, they have a lot of computer ones, computer security, and some aviation, things that are particular to our area. So lots of options there, and they are a lot cheaper. So that is a good option to consider. And then this website here, the community, I'm not sure, Ms. Novak, was it the same one that you were posting in the chat or a different?
It's the same one.
Okay, so there's a good source.
Click in the chat.
Great, so a good source there for you to start looking at what's available there and see if that might meet your needs at community college. Okay, then next slide, please. Okay, so now those are all public schools actually that the state provides, for our communities. Now there are also private schools that you can train at. For example, one might be Gene Juarez, which is for gosh, I don't want to say beauty school, it's not called that anymore, but where you can learn to do the trades that have to do with care of your body and hair and all of those things. Estheticians, I think.
And then there's also like cosmetology.
Oh, thank you. Cosmetology, right? Massage. These are some examples too. Paralegal, massage therapy. There's
dental assistants.
Yes. What was another besides Gene Juarez, Mr. Lehman? You had another example.
Pima Medical. They'd have like where you could be a medical assistant and stuff like that.
Right. So there are specific ones that focus on a certain thing that you can go as well. So those were some examples. And if you're interested in something very specific, just work with us or your counselor or Ms. Novak, and we can help kind of steer you towards which those schools are. And then you can start looking at those.
Yes,
Okay.
something not to like discourage you from exploring those, but like credits earned from Gene Juarez are not going to transfer anywhere else. That's just something to keep in mind.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to say that looks like, is that you, Dub? In that picture?
Yeah, that's definitely you, Dub.
Okay.
And also,
Okay.
just a timekeeping thing, Ms. Weber. We are at 10:13, so when we do
Okay.
have other slides to get through too.
Yes, I will wrap that up. So, okay, when you think of college in the traditional sense or university. A university, by the way, is a college that has advanced degrees too. So you can do your 4-year degree plus additional graduate studies or PhD work. But really, they're all 4-year colleges. And you can get your bachelor's degree there. And then, as I said, continue on to get a master's or doctorate. But there's private ones and there's public. So the state provides the public ones. And there's University of Washington, Wazoo, let's see, and then there's Western, Central, Eastern. So they're all over the state for everybody to access. And then one more, Evergreen. Evergreen? I'm saying that wrong. Anyway, that's in Olympia area. So there are several choices there for you that are public schools, all very good. And it really depends on what suits you the best, okay? Private schools, for example, there's several around here, Seattle U, Pacific Lutheran, so many. But the private ones will usually charge more because they're not subsidized by the state, but they also have a lot of financial aid. So you should definitely look at both and really try to see where your interests lie and pursue that. Nothing really off limits with financial aid. Keep going, please. Next slide. Okay, and this is an example of the kind of things you can graduate in, but so many more. So every subject you study in school, you can major in that at college, plus so many more. It's very broad. So I think we'll, rather than talk about all the different things there, because there's so many, we'll go on to the next topic.
All right, so selectivity. All colleges are, and when we say again colleges, we're talking about any post-high school programs, require some sort of application process. And the packets can really range from different programs. So it's always best to identify, if you are interested in a post-high school program, to look at exactly what they are looking for. They could be looking at GPAs, they can be looking at school involvement, just check out what they're looking for, basically. Next slide, please. So in terms of selectivity, our programs range in like the restrictions of the criteria that they have to get into a program. Typically, community and technical colleges are the least selective, so more folks are able to access these programs. And public and private four-year colleges tend to be more moderate and highly selective. I really want to highlight that just because something is super selective doesn't necessarily mean that one program is better than the other. And that our institutions are still operating on pretty archaic standards. And hopefully in the future, as educators in general, we are hoping to make all post-high school programs accessible. We also want to clarify that as educators at Decatur High School, we want everyone to be college ready. And then that means, for example, encouraging our students to access AP courses, not because we want to force you to go into a four-year college, but because typically private and public four-year colleges tend to be more selective and have higher restrictions for the criteria. We want to open up as many options for you as much as possible. So again, even if you are meeting the high criterias, or the more strict criteria, of public and private four-year colleges, if going to a technical college is something that you want for you, then by all means you can. We just want to have as many options available for you as possible. Next slide, please. All right, so campus sizes. We wrote this down because when you're looking for an education program in the future, we want to make sure that you're also considering the environment that you're going to be in. Typically, community and technical colleges have about 5,000 to around 30,000 attendees, so they tend to range a lot. Public four-year colleges tend to be over 10,000. Private four-year colleges tend to be less than 5,000. So when you're looking for a program, find one that meets your type of learning, right? There are pros and cons with the sizes of attendees in each education programs. For example, if you are the kind of person that just wants a little bit more individualized support and need smaller class sizes so you can work with your professors more individually, then maybe private colleges are something that you can look into.
Yeah.
However, public and four-year colleges tend to have more programs to go into. So again, really identify what the environment that works best for you and your learning.
Yeah, and keep in mind, like UW for introductory classes are going to have 700-person lectures.
Yes, versus like Lewis and Clark College, where I went to for my undergrad degree. I think most of my classes had about 30 students or under. So again, really depends on your best learning style. Next, please. Tuition. So tuition, here are just kind of like the different ranges for how much programs typically cost. Really want to highlight that there are so many opportunities to afford colleges. Like, don't get scared with the sticker price for these. There are a lot of scholarship opportunities. Completing FAFSA and WASFA, I'm going to start implanting that right now. FAFSA and WASFA is going to help you significantly with funding your tuition. Finally, next slide, please. Degrees. So these are the examples of the different types of degrees that you can acquire from different types of programs. So community and technical colleges, you often get some sort of certificate or associate's degree. And in some cases that could lead you to get something that allows you to work in a job that's specific to a particular certificate. Public at four-year and private four-year colleges, you can, at the very minimum, acquire a bachelor's degree. But if you want to keep moving forward with college after your four-year college, you can definitely access your master's and then your doctorate degree.
Also remember that the community and technical schools do offer some bachelor's programs now.
Oh, yes, that's right. Thank you for
Okay.
clarifying that.
So I guess the question is, with all that information, what can you do now? First thing is like talk to friends, family, school staff, and just bounce ideas off of, especially if you have older siblings that are going through the college process. They are great resources to talk to about what their experience has been and what it's been like having to try to discover what to study and all that other things. And guess what? All your teachers went to college, so they are great resources too about bouncing off ideas. Of course, I love talking to students about it. That's what brought me to school counseling in the beginning. It's really important that you're doing your high school and beyond plan tasks in Maya Learning. Really taking advantage of when you have SEL, CCR time to do that, and even doing some of it in your own time. Maya Learning is a great research tool for different programs. And also, as you go forward, great opportunity to apply for scholarships so that you can afford to go to universities of your choice. Speaking of which, it's researching post-high school programs and their admission requirements. It's one thing to want to go to a college. It's another to know what the requirements are and making sure that you're meeting them by what you are registering for in high school. So it's important you know what you want to do. You don't have to know for sure. And I don't feel like you're behind if you don't know. But get an idea, and then we will always advise you to keep your options open. So we're going to typically advise to keeping the four-year college application option available to you. But also you just need to make sure that your specific program you're meeting the requirements for. And part of that is planning out your future courses at Decatur. You are now sophomores. You're going to have much more options available to you next year on terms of what you are going to do, whether that's running START, PSSE, taking AP classes, or continuing the typical general education program here at Decatur. So the Maya Learning tasks that we really want to highlight that you should be completing, definitely complete the fall counselor survey. The interest profiler, that's going to help you identify some potential jobs or areas of study that are of interest to you. Update your career list, and during December is like really identifying like 6 to 9 post-secondary pathway choices. So this could be, oh, I'm kind of interested in apprenticeships. I'll put, let me look up and maybe I want to be an electrician, so I'll put that. And then, but I also want to keep my options open. I might want to become an electrical engineer instead. Similar thought process, but one requires a degree when one's an apprenticeship. So just like really identifying what interests you and then documenting that in Maya Learning. And we talked about options for next year. So as you go forward, something that I really want to highlight is working towards your AP capstone diploma. This is going to make your transcript very competitive when you are applying to four-year colleges. The requirements for the AP capstone diploma is that you have to pass the exam for AP seminar and AP research. Those are the only two that are specifically required. And then you also have to pass 4 other AP exams. So if you are currently in AP seminar, some of you are, you need to make sure that you sign up for AP research next year. And if you are interested in doing the AP capstone diploma, but you haven't signed up for AP seminar yet, make sure you sign up for in your junior year so you remain eligible to receive that capstone diploma.
Mr. Lehman, can I clarify? Did
Yeah.
you say requires passing the exam for AP seminar and AP seminar and AP research? Do they have to pass just the 4 other classes or pass those exams as well?
Pass those exams as well.
Exams, okay, because this says classes, so just clarifying everybody.
Yeah, sorry about the confusion on the writing. Passing the exam for AP seminar and AP research and the exam for 4 other AP classes was the intent. Okay, and also next, Miss Weber on Thursday is going to be hosting a seminar that will be talking about both Running Start and PSSE in more detail. So if you are interested in one of those programs, please attend Miss Weber's webinar. But Running Start is also a good option for those that want to receive free tuition, but there are still costs in attending Running Start. And there are some pros and cons that Miss Weber will go over. But it's an option for those that really for those that know what they want to do after high school and they want to get a jump start on their degree requirements. PSSE, or Puget Sound Skills Center, has the same, you must be a junior or senior to attend. This is for people that are more interested in your technical degrees or apprenticeships. They have a lot of different vocational programs there in which you take half your classes at Decatur and your other half through PSSE, and we work in conjunction with them to make sure you meet all your graduation requirements, and you can earn a certification in a certain trade at the completion of that as long as you meet all the requirements for that. Vocational classes are like job related is the best way I could describe it. Like your career and technical education type classes, like automotive, there's construction, there's even like jewelry making and fashion design and things like that. So as you are going through the process of researching schools and different programs, make sure that you are reviewing their accreditation and their job placements. You want to make sure you're going to a school that's not a scam. There's a lot of for-profit schools out there that might be scamming you. Just be like, all your state schools are probably safe, but it's what I'm more concerned about those private 2-year ones. Just make sure that they're fully accredited and you're not giving your money to a place that's not very good at helping people get jobs. And there's so many different factors to review. It's really finding out what works well for you and where your interests and your skills intersect, like where you're interested, where your passion is and where you are talented. Find that intersection point is where you are going to be the most successful. And part of that's exploring different elective options here, taking advantage of volunteer opportunities, maybe some of you work, just like using each experience to refine what it is that you want to do and taking the most out of it you can. And that is going to be the best way for you to start planning for life after high school. If you are in classes and you need more support, if you're falling a little bit behind on some of your classes, I just want to say the first step is actually talking to your teacher. You'll be amazed how many times that I'll be talking to a student, they'll be talking about their struggles in a class. And my first question will always be, well, did you talk to your teacher? And I would say probably about 75%, they will say, y'all, the students will say no. And like, that's your first step, is talking to your teacher, really taking advantage of the asynchronous time that they make available for their office hours and reaching out to them if you need things clarified. But in addition, this Zoom link right here will take you to the Gatorade Study Club, where there'll be an AmeriCorps tutor there Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. 1:10 to 2 p.m. and on Wednesday for even longer. And you get direct support and tutoring on your classes. And I want you all to take a picture of this. This is the contact information for your counselor. So if you have, just to reiterate, if you have last names A through G, or if you have a case manager of Robbins, Watson, or Michaelis, you will be with Miss France. If you have last names H through M, or if you're an Avid, or if your case managers McCrummen, McIntosh, Patera, or Sessier, you are with me, Mr. Lehman. And then last names N through Z, or case managers Ralphs, Colvin, and Bailey, you're Miss Weber. If you have no idea what case manager means, that means you don't have one, so don't worry about it. Just go by the alphabet, or if you're an Avid. Again, take a picture. Those are the best. And then I really don't have high attendance at my Wednesday office hours on that Zoom link. So please join. I would love to talk to you and advise you on any question that you may have.
Yeah, I will say Wednesdays are a little bit lonely. I'd like for you to drop in.
The Gatorade link, a lot of your teachers also put it on their Canvas pages, so you can ask them for that as well. And all of your teachers do have that link available in their emails as well if you need it. So if you want your Gatorade link, just ask a teacher if they can provide that for you if you don't take a picture or are able to find it. Mm-hmm.
Someone asked in the chat about if they're supposed to be attending the SEL CCR class, which you're in now, thankfully. Yes. You should be attending that. Tons of good information in there.
And I know some, we'll be doing more of these. And I know in particular, right before registration, we're going to do one that's centered around graduation requirements and advising you on proper classes to sign up for to make sure that you complete your graduation requirements. So that's coming. So I know some of you want to have some things clarified, but we'll get that out there when we come back from winter break.
I wonder if anyone has any questions that we haven't answered. Could be a different subject.
Oh, so there was a question about what is the language translator? It's not a class, but there is a program through PSSC that prepares students who speak another language besides English to be a translator, basically. And we can drop, I was trying to find just different languages for the PSSC program. So I'm gonna start kind of dropping some information on the webinar.
There was a question earlier about, can I get an apprenticeship for blacksmithing?
Well, that's a very specific one that I'm not 100% sure of that particular one. I would say I'm almost positive you could. However, that's where you would look in your Maya Learning and you would type that in under exploring career. You would type in blacksmith and then it's going to come up and you'll see, well, where could I study that? And what about that job? What does it pay? Is it a growing job or is it a job that's shrinking? You know, you could learn a lot about it from there.
Yes, automotive class would be great to prepare to being a mechanic. And I saw a question about talking to your counselor about next steps and like making sure that you are advising on what steps you need to take to, for your whatever you want to do after high school. That is absolutely something to talk to your counselor about and something that I'm sure all three of us love talking to students about. And oftentimes is one of the main reasons why people come to our career.
So there was a
There's
question
also,
about,
oh, sorry. There's
go ahead.
also a question on, are we going to learn more about what classes we should take to have an advantage in our majors? So does one of the counselors want to talk about how looking forward to your career and registration starts happening more your sophomore and junior years?
Yeah, so I mean, that's what I was trying to get at but we're gonna, so basically, if you know what you want to study, you should be taking classes geared towards that. Like, if you want to be an engineer, you should be in our engineering class. If you want to work in film, you should be doing video production, not just taking random classes. And also, like, I don't want to advise too many people to Running Start because I think it's has definite pros and cons. But if you know what you want to study and we don't offer classes directly related to that, that is why Running Start is a good option for some people.
AP courses can be another way for you to prepare for a lot of post-high school programs. So, if you want just more preparation to be successful in college, we really highly suggest taking AP courses.
Yeah, like in my opinion, if you want to go to college, the best class that you can take is AP English language and composition. Learning to write at a college level is the best way that you are going to be successful at specifically at your 2-year and 4-year 2-year college and 4-year universities. Knowing how to write at a college level is what separates people from being successful in college and people that are not. And so that AP, it's like our AP program is going to prepare you to do well in college in terms of like achieving your degree. And an AP seminar, also a great class. And I want to see more people go for the AP capstone diploma. I think this is going to be our first year where we have some people do it, and we have like 4 or 5 people that could potentially earn it this year.
All right, so if you have other questions, you can go ahead and put those in the chat. Otherwise, we're at 10:35. So you can leave this webinar and transition, start taking your little break and your transition over to 6th period. If you do have questions, you can put them in the chat and we'll stick around and answer those for you.
Studying abroad.
There was a question
I can get that one. I'll do that.
about study abroad, and I don't think I can talk about that.
Well,
For studying abroad, I have information. So we don't have a formal partnership with any programs that promote studying abroad. But there are some legitimate programs out there. If there's something that you're interested in, let's talk about it. Talk about it with your counselors, so we can look at it and see the legitimacy of the program.
Also, if you're looking at studying abroad in college, that can sometimes be something that influences your college search. So for example, I went to Gonzaga, which actually has a campus in Italy. So all your classes that you take at Gonzaga, you could take at their campus in Italy. And it's one of the things that some kids used as a reason for going to that. So if you're thinking of doing a study abroad in college, you can look at like what programs and partnerships they have. But a lot of colleges will let you study abroad almost anywhere that has a program, but there's some that have specific things like a campus in another country that they're very familiar with, making sure you're able to.
Not studying abroad is one of my biggest regrets from college. Just a personal note.
Yeah. I did a summer. I wasn't able to go for a whole year because they didn't have biology classes, but I went for a summer and now they do.
If you have the opportunity to, it's a wonderful opportunity.
It was one of the best experiences I had in college, was just studying abroad. Australia.
Ooh.
I had a friend that did the
France.
What?
I don't think I knew you did that.
Oh, yeah, I did. I was accidentally on Australian Idol by accident because I walked into the public setting. So.
Nice.
Thank you, everybody, for attending. You have 2 minutes to get to your next class.
Have a good holiday. Nice break. Rest up. And catch up if you need to. Catch up.
Nice little trivia question about Miss Franz there.
Yeah.
Has Miss Franz ever been stumbled onto Australian Idol?
Answer is yes, she was in the top 33 finalists by accident.
Wow. Baton twirling.
No, that's the singing one. It's their
Just kidding.
American Idol. So it was Australian Idol. They had their
Wow.
very own.
Okay, we want to hear some singing.
I have
That
a
was
guilty pleasure for
accidental.
those type of shows. Like I even watched The Masked Singer, which is just terrible television.
Mm.
But
Did you
That's
see
what-
there is now going to be a masked dancer?
yes, I did. I don't think I'll be watching. It's the singing that I'm there for.
Okay, Katie, did you get this saved?
I
Shameless
did.
plug for Wazoo by Miss Tuff there.